Abagtha.
Ready?
All right. Welcome.
This time, make sure it's live.
This time we're live.
Okay, good.
Definitely live this time. All right. So we are moving on this week. We are on week number 6.
I can't hear us.
Dylan can't hear us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hang on. But while I'm fixing this, we are on week number 6. You should hear us now.
Yep.
Of our weekly Bible reading. We're not really calling it a weekly Bible study because we're not knowledgeable enough to teach you anything. So I guess you could technically call it a study because we're studying it too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like Bible studies are more aimed at people that are being led by somebody that knows what they're talking about, not like us. Like we're just reading it.
Call it a read along.
Yeah. So
Weekly
we are learning
Bible
with
read-along.
you. But all right. So we are, for those that are new, we are in the book of Genesis, and we have read. We're reading a couple or a few chapters every week, depending on the length of each chapter. And we're reading it slowly, specifically because we want to be able to absorb everything that we read each week instead of just reading like an entire book in like 2 weeks and then being like, oh crap, I don't remember half of it. So with that, we are in Genesis chapter 20. It's called Abraham and Abimelech. And we will go ahead and probably read through, let's see, we've got chapter 20. And then 21.
22 and 23 are pretty small.
Yeah. So we'll do 20 through. We might as well do 24 too. Keep it even.
Okay.
So we'll do 20 through 24. And we'll do the same thing we did last week. And Dylan, why don't you go ahead and take it away with Abraham and Abimelech.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Get back to. I got to scroll on this one.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot to charge the iPad, which is normally what the audience is viewing, as well as Dylan. So it's a lot easier for him because I do the scrolling. But
Okay, here we go.
I forgot to charge the iPad.
So, chapter title is Abraham and Abimelech. Okay, so
Here, real quick.
Abimelech.
Pretty sure it's.
Abimelech?
Is it not going to be in here? Okay, here it is. Abimelech. You ready?
Yep.
Abimelech.
Yep, Abimelech. All right. So, and Abraham journeyed from there to the south and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur and stayed in Gerar. Now Abraham said of Sarah his wife, "She is my sister," and Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "Indeed, you are dead, man, because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife." But Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, "Lord, you will slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself, 'He is my brother'? In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands I have done this." And God said to him in a dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me. Therefore I did not let you touch her. Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, now know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours." So Abimelech rose early in the morning, called all his servants, and told all these things in their hearing, and the men were very much afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I offended you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom a great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done." That Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you have in view that you have done this thing?" And Abraham said, "Because I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will kill me on account of my wife. But indeed she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, 'This is your kindness that you should do for me. In every place, wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, 'See, my land is before you, dwell where it pleases you.' Then to Sarah he said, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Indeed, this vindicates you before all who are with you and before everybody.' Thus she was rebuked. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants. Then they bore children, for the Lord had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife."
Interesting. All right. So moving on to chapter number 21, we've got Isaac is born.
Yep.
And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him, and Sarah said, "God has made me laugh, and all who hear will laugh with me." She also said, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age." Another verse title, Hagar and Ishmael depart. So the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great fast on the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, scoffing. Therefore she said to Abraham, "Cast out this bondwoman and her son, For the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, namely with Isaac. And the matter was very displeasing in Abraham's sight because of his son. But God said to Abraham, Do not let it be displeasing in your sight because of the lad or because of your bondwoman. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice, for in Isaac your seed shall be called. Yet I will also make a nation of the son of the bondwoman, because he is your seed. So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and putting it on her shoulder. Took bread and a skin of water and putting it on her shoulder. Wouldn't it just be put it on her shoulder? But anyways, so Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and skin of water and put it on her shoulder, or putting it on her shoulder. He gave it and the boy to Hagar and sent her away. Then she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water in the skin was used up, and she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. Then she went and sat down across from him at a distance of about a bow shot. For she said to herself, Let me not see the death of the boy. So she sat opposite of him, and lifted her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad. Then the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said to her, What ails you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled a skin with water, and gave the lad a drink. So God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. He dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Another verse title, A Covenant with Abimelech. And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, hopefully it's not fecal, because that would be gross. Let's look that one up real quick.
Michael?
Phic. Okay, there it is.
Phicol.
Okay, thank
Phicol.
God it's not fecal. That would be a name, wouldn't it?
That would be funny.
It's like, what is your name? Fecal?
Fecal.
Oh,
Last name
that's
bacteria.
the same thing they got. Anyways, and it came to pass at the time that Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, God is with you in all that you do. Now, therefore, swear to me by God that you will not deal falsely with me, with my offspring, or with my posterity, but that according to the kindness that I have done to you, you will do to me and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I will swear. Then Abraham rebuked Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, nor had I heard of it until today. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech. And the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 set seven lambs of flock by themselves. I wonder if that one's in here. That is not in here. That is not in the Bible pronunciations, which is a shame because I have no idea how to pronounce that. EWE. Anyways,
All
we'll,
right,
we'll
so
move
an
on.
ewe lamb is a young female sheep.
Huh. How do you pronounce it, though?
Oops, shoot. Pronunciation. You. It's pronounced just like you.
Okay, so a ewe lamb. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. Then Abimelech asked Abraham, What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, You will take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand, that they may be my witness that I have dug this well. Therefore he called that place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. So Abimelech rose with Phicol, the commander of his army, and they returned to the land of the Philistines. Then Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines many days.
And then chapter 22, Abraham's faith confirmed. Now it came to pass after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and he split the wood for the burnt offering, and arose and went to the place of which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. The lad and I will go yonder and worship, and we will come back to you. So Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and the 2 of them went together. But Isaac spoke to Abraham his father and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. Then he said, Look, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering. So the 2 of them went together. Then they came to the place of which God had told him, and Abraham built an altar there and placed the wood in order, and he bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched out his son and took the knife to slay his son.
He
But
stretched out his hand.
Stretched out his hand
Sorry.
and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. So he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not lay your hand on the lad or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. Then Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and there behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up for a burnt offering instead of his son. And Abraham called the name of the place, The Lord will provide, as it said to this day, In the mount of the Lord it shall be provided. The angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time out of heaven, and said, Be myself, I have sworn, say the Lord, because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your only son. Blessings I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply your descendants, as the star of the heaven and the sand which is on the seashore, and your descendants shall possess the gate of their enemies. In your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they rose and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. Now, basically, at the end of this chapter, another chapter title, The Family of Nahor. Now it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Indeed, Milcah also has borne children to your brother Nahor. Huz his firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Cheez, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel begot Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, which name was Reumah.
Yeah,
Rauma?
I'll look that one up.
The other ones I kinda could pronounce, but this one's no.
Ruma.
Ruma. Almost like Roomba.
Yeah.
Ruma also bore Teba, Gaham, Thahash, and Makah.
It's not funny. Okay, I'm gonna look those ones up too because
Makah.
crazy. Well, they're not crazy,
Makah.
but all right.
Tahash.
Tiba.
Teba.
Tiba.
Tiba.
Teba.
Like I'm not saying it. Don't say it.
It's kind of like
something
what
that
we
happens
say
in
in
a
Forefront.
first-person video game when another person is downed.
Yeah.
We're not going to say it, though.
T-Ba.
You are getting T-Ba.
You're getting T-Ba Gaham. T-Ba Gaham.
Gaham.
What?
Nothing. I just wasn't expecting it to be that gay.
Gayham?
Gayham.
Gayham?
We thought it was Gaham, but it's
Gayham.
Gayham. It just threw me off. That was just funny. The hash. Really? That was not in here? That was not in here.
Well,
I
that's
guess.
too bad.
All right, last one. M-A-A.
Maca.
Maca. That one's not in here either.
Wow.
Okay, it kind of is. No. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it kind of is because it's got some other stuff that's in front. No, that's what I typed, but yeah, M-A-A-C-H. Oh, in this stupid pronunciation thing, they don't have the H. It's just spelled M-A-A-C-A-H. So that's
Oh.
why I couldn't find it at first, but this is
Mayaka.
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 Maybe
Mayaka.
that's it, though. Mayaka.
Mayaka. All right. Chapter 23, Sarah's Death and Burial. Spoiler alert. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, that is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Then Abraham stood up from before his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a foreigner and a visitor among you. Give me property for a burial place among you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my lord, you are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial places. None of us will withhold you from his burial place, that you may bury your dead. Then Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth, and he spoke with them, saying, If it is your wish that I bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and meet with my Ephron, the son of Zohar, for me, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me at the full price, as property for a burial place among you. Now Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the presence of the sons of Heth, all who entered at the gate of his city, saying, No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field and the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people. I give it to you. Bury your dead. Then Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land, and he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, If you will give it, please hear me. I will give you money for the field. Take it from me, and I will bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My lord, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron. And Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. So the field of Ephron was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth, before all who went in the gate of this city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. Before Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So the field of the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial place. Moving on to the last and final chapter of this week, Mr. Dillon.
All right. Chapter title is A Bride for Isaac. Now, Abraham was old, well advanced in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. So Abraham said to the oldest servant of his house, who ruled over all that he had, not, please put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. But you shall go to my country and to my family, and take a wife for my son Isaac. And the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not be willing to follow me to this land, but must I take your son back to the land from which you came? But Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back there. The Lord God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my family, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your descendants I give this land. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed, for all his master's goods were in his hands, and he arose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made the camels kneel down outside the city by a well of water at evening time, the time when women go out to draw water. Then he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, please give me success this day, and show kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, here I stand by the well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Now let it be that the young woman to whom I say, please let down your pitcher that I may drink. And she says, drink, and I will also give your camels a drink. Let her be the one you have appointed for your servant Isaac. And by this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. And it happened, before he had finished speaking, that behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. Now the young woman was very beautiful to behold, a virgin. No man had known her, and she went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, please let me drink a little water from your pitcher. So she said, drink, my lord. Then she quickly let her pitcher down to her hand and gave him a drink. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also, until they have finished drinking. Then she quickly emptied her pitcher into the trough, ran back to the well to draw water, and drew for all of his camels. And the man wondering at her, remained silent so as to know whether the Lord had made his journey prosperous or not. So it was, when the camel had finished drinking, that the man took a golden nose ring weighing 1/2 shekel, and 2 bracelets for her wrists weighing 10 shekels of gold, and said, whose daughter are you? Tell me, please, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge? So she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to Nahor. Moreover, she said to him, we have both straw and feed enough and room to lodge. Then the man bowed down his head and worshipped the Lord. And he said, blessed be the Lord of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his mercy and his truth toward my master. As for me, being on the way, the Lord led me to the house of my master's brethren. So the young woman ran and told her mother's household these things. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran out to the man by the well. So it came to pass when he saw the nose ring and the bracelets on her sister's wrists, and when he heard the words of his sister Rebekah, saying, "Thus the man spoke to me," that he went to the man, and there he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, "Come in, O blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared the house and a place for the camels." Then the man came to the house, and he unloaded the camels, and provided straw and feed for the camels, and water to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were with him. Food was set before him to eat, but he said, "I will not eat until I have told about my errand." And he said, "Speak on." So he said, "I am Abraham's servant, the Lord. He blessed my master greatly, and he has become great, and he has given him flock and herds, silver and gold, male and female servants, and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him he has given all that he has. Now my master made me swear, saying, 'You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughter of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but you shall go to the father's house and to my family, and take a wife for my son.' And I said to my master, 'Perhaps the woman will not follow me.' But he said to me, 'The Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with you and prosper your way. And you shall take his wife for my son from my family and from my father's house. You will be clear from his oath when you arrive among my family, for if they will not give her to you, then you will be released from my oath.' And this day I came to the well and said, 'O Lord God of my master Abraham, if you will now prosper the way in which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water, and it shall come to pass that when the virgin comes out to draw water, I say to her, Please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink. And she says to me, Drink, and I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son.' But before I had finished speaking in my heart, there was Rebekah, coming out with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down to the well and drew water. And I said to her, Please let me drink. And she made haste and let her pitcher down from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give your camels the drink. I'll give the camels the drink also. Then I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the nose ring on her nose and the bracelet on her wrist, and I bowed my head and worshipped the Lord. And I blessed the Lord God of my master Abraham, who had led me in the way of truth to take the daughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me that I may turn to the right hand or to the left." Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, The thing comes from the Lord. We cannot speak to you either bad or good. Here is Rebekah before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as the Lord has spoken. And it came to pass, when Abraham's servant heard their words, that he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth. Then the servants brought out jewelry of silver, jewelry of gold, and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and to her mother. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank and stayed all night. Then they rose in the morning, and he said, Send me away to my master. But her brother and her mother said, Let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10, after that she may go. And he said to them, Do not hinder me, since the Lord has prospered my way. Send me away so that I may go to my master. So they said, We will come to the young woman and ask her personally. Then they called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. So they sent away Rebekah their sister and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you become the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and may your descendants possess the gates of those who hate them. Then Rebekah and her maids arose, and they rode on the camels and followed the man. So the servants took Rebekah and departed. Now Isaac came from the way of Beer Lahairoi, for he dwelt in the south, and Isaac went out to meditate in the field of the evening, and he lifted his eyes and looked, and there the camels were coming. Then Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel. For she had said to the servant, "Who is this man walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "It is my master." So she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and he took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
That was probably one of the longest chapters we've ever read so far.
Yeah, there was 67 different verses in that one chapter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very nice. All right, so that brings us to the end of this week's reading. I did kind of want to bring something up, though, real quick, because we didn't really touch upon it last week. And I was kind of curious your thoughts on the whole Sodom and Gomorrah story and how God was, well, not was, he did destroy pretty much an entire civilization for one thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what that one thing is?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I'm just curious. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. We don't have to,
So-
but I kind of just put you on the spot, but
Yeah, well, it's hard to, but if, in my opinion, if God is the creator of everything and he knows that sin is a thing and he created it even though knowing that we were going to sin and every sin is forgivable, but yet he will destroy a whole civilization for something he created. So, for instance, if he created me the way I am, but he's going to call the way I am a sin, why'd he create it?
that's a good question.
Why'd he do it? If he knew, but God doesn't make a mistake, but he knew that this was going to happen, why'd he do it? If he loves all of his children the same way, why'd he do it? That's just like saying...
Are you saying why did he destroy that civilization, or why did he make you or
why did
anybody
he
else
give...
like that?
why did he create any ability of sin?
I don't know. It's a good question. Did he create sin, or was that something that came with the
If he's the
Satan?
creator of everything,
Yeah, that's true.
he created Beelzebub, Lucifer, same person. He created him knowing what he was going to do. Mistake.
So then it's all part of
Of the
same
process.
big circle.
It is. But at the same time, in the Bible, I don't think that being that type of person will just say, okay, because you were this type of person, you're not allowed to be in heaven.
Well, there are some unforgivable sins.
There is, and that's turning your back on God, selling your soul to the devil. I mean, but the one thing is, there are so many people out there now. If you look on the news as well, you'll see priests. Supposedly, they're supposed to be holy, they're supposed to be godly, but yet they're one of the most targeted for child molestation.
That always did strike me as kind of odd.
And
Specifically
it's
the
not just Catholic.
Church.
It could be Baptist too. I've heard it in the Baptist look too. I've seen pastors. I've heard of stories of pastors. It's just so many different areas of people preaching saying, "Oh, you can't get to heaven for this." Just because it depicts something in the Bible and you think that that's what that means does not mean that that's true. God speaks to people in many ways. All the Bible verses that you read, one person may interpret different than you just interpreted. So you may read it and be like, oh, this is what God meant. And someone to the left of you may go, oh, this is what God meant. And then you both have an argument on it because it's not what you both thought.
But what does that have to do with like something like part of, for instance, where when we had to look the word up, when the people were trying to beat down the doors of, was that Lot? Yeah, they were trying to beat down Lot's door when the two angels were inside of his presence, and the people inside, or the people outside, were like, "Let us in. We want to get to know them carnally."
So the only
How
thing,
could that be misinterpreted?
well, the only thing that I look at the Bible is I am probably the person with the most open mind. All right. So I can look at something and someone could say some crazy religion. I won't tell them they're wrong to their face. I may think it, but I'm still open minded. I have the ability to listen and actually put myself in their shoes. So if I am, let's say, reading a Bible and you're explaining to me, oh, this is what they meant, you may not know that. Number one, Bible is written by man. Man is known to make themselves look better than they actually are. Now, I know there's a debate saying that people have died over the Bible, people have been tortured over the Bible, but yet still said that it's true. It could be true to an extent, but everything written in the Bible may not be fully true. It was written by man. It's been transcribed over the years. So different people have gotten a hold of the Bible. That's why you always hear what happens if the devil led a church and is spreading false news. Then
But
that
even
becomes
though
a
it's
false
been
prophet.
transcribed over the years, it all says the same thing.
It does say the same thing, and yes, but at the same time, if you look back on, let's even KJV, you go on to Webster's dictionary, you look at it, sometimes those words are, there's 3 different definition meanings for it. So you search it up, and it says it could mean love, it could mean hate, it could mean pain. I mean, you don't know what they actually used that word for back then.
What type of examples, though, of like words that are that far off? I feel like most translations and stuff, when it comes to the differences in the Bible, aren't necessarily like entire definitions different. It's still along the same lines of the same premise. Like it's still telling the same story, the same overarching.
All right, so there's some of them, which is everyone knows the Bible was originally written in Hebrew.
Yeah, because
Hebrew.
the first few books of the Bible before the Old Testament was all Jewish. That's from the
So
Jewish
one of the
religion. And then
one
the
of
New Testament was when Jesus was, after Jesus came.
So one of the, particularly in the Bible, that's inaccurately translated to English is shalom, which often nowadays means peace, but back then it meant a settlement. Shadaha, often sin, but means to miss the mark or mistake, to make a mistake.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the same thing. Sinning, making a mistake.
And then Melachot, often translated as work in the context of Sabbath, it actually refers to the creative manipulations or purposeful action forbidden on the day of rest.
Well, that's the same thing too.
Okay,
Sabbath
so
is the day of
Eretz,
rest.
often translated as earth, but better understood as land or country, but it is as referred in the Bible to just the land of Israel, when nowadays it just means earth.
What word?
Eretz. Eretz.
Huh.
Often translated nowadays as earth, but better understood as land or country, referring specifically to the land of Israel biblically.
So let's rope this back to then with something like that particular section where Lot is trying to protect these two angels. I'm trying to think. Can you think of have you read, maybe check in your Bible too, is the word carnally written differently? Like maybe that was translated differently
Which
too.
one was that?
That was we did chapters 16 through 19. Was that last week's reading?
I think so.
Yeah.
Carnally?
And it was at a point when Lot had just let the two angels into his house, and they were trying to break down the door, and they were like, "Let us know these two men carnally." Wonder if I can search it faster than this. Okay, it was Genesis 19, verse 5. And it says, "And they called to Lot and said," in this one, and this is the New King James Version, and they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them carnally."
All right, so in the KJV Bible, it just says, "And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them, that we may know them, not carnally, we may know them." And then it says, "But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all of the people from every quarter." Can I just bring them out? Yeah. Hold on. "And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters, which have not known man. Let me, I pray for you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes." Yeah, so it doesn't say carnally.
Hmm. Interesting. All right.
Oh, well, here's actually something too.
Hmm.
So this explains what's going on during that verse. All right, so it says, the narrative, Genesis 19. The men of the city demand to know or have sex with Lot's male guests, who were actually angels. This is the demand of gang rape, which is an act of violence, power, and humiliation, not romantic love. The Bible owns interpretation. Later biblical writer actually clarifies what the sin of Sodom was. In Ezekiel 16:49 through 50, it states, "Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. The lesson. The story is a warning against cruelty, arrogance, and refusing to welcome strangers, not a condemnation of gay relationships. It is telling you the context of rape, not sexuality or homophobia. Trying to have gay sex is not a sin according to this lesson in the Bible. If someone argues that sodomites were trying to have gay sex, you can point out that the situation was a threatened mob gang rape, not a loving, consensual relationship. This makes it a sin. If it's a loving, consensual relationship, that's the counter argument.
I don't see how there's a difference, though, in my
Rape?
opinion. No, there's obviously a difference between consensual sex and rape, but to me, there's no difference between a man raping another man and a man just having sex with another man. I feel like that's still the same thing. That'd be like a guy raping a girl as opposed to a guy having sex with a girl.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. The Bible also states in Ezekiel 16:49 that the sin of Sodom was neglecting the poor and needy, not being gay. The story is about a threatened gang rape by a violent mob, which is a crime of violence, not a gay relationship. If we are going to talk about ancient laws, do you also follow the rules against eating shrimp or wearing mixed fabrics? Jesus said the most important rule is to love your neighbor, not to judge who they love.
Yeah.
So even in the
Jesus said a
Bible,
lot of things, though, too.
Jesus did say a lot of
And
things,
we're
but
going to
if
get into that later when we get into the New Testament.
yeah,
But
but to go off of the what was it? The sin of Sodom. You could probably
I just brought that up because that was the most recent one we read. We didn't talk about it, and it's just one of the most commonly referred to
yeah.
ones.
I would say just off of reading that too. I do see why it would be a sin if it's rape. I mean, they're coming in and forcefully trying to have sexual intercourse with another man without consent. I mean, that definitely, that I could see why they got cast out.
Yeah.
Didn't they get blinded?
Not all of them, just the ones that were immediately at the door.
Yeah, they got
when they
blinded
pulled
and then
Lot
scattered
back
away.
in.
And didn't they turn to limestone? Or was that something totally
No, that
different?
was
A little bit farther.
Sarah, later on, when she looked back, she turned to a pillar of salt.
Oh, but I thought she just died in this too.
Or maybe it wasn't Sarah. Who was that? That was. Do, 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 do. Yeah, it couldn't have been Sarah because it was whoever Lot was married to. Where? But his wife looked back, became a pillar of salt. Who was Lot married to? Google that real quick.
Oh.
How did we forget that? We just read that. Because it was, yeah.
It was an unnamed woman.
Oh.
It was
What?
just named Lot's wife,
That's weird.
who
Wha-
famously turned into a pillar of salt for looking back at the destruction of Sodom.
Why wouldn't she be named? That's so weird.
Here's another one too. It's saying that later on in the KJV Bible that they use the word yada instead in the same Genesis 19, talking about it. while modern day is emphasized for sex, back then it was used for dominance. So maybe it wasn't, well, it could have been sexual, but it was also just a dominance thing, to feel dominant, to have power.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was anything in the sense of being gay. It was more just in the sense of having power. They wanted to feel like they were the strongest among everyone there. Whether that meant raping another man, it just was a sense of power.
Yeah. 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 Well, with that,
Yeah, we did not need to hear that.
need to hear what?
Why'd you have Taco Bell before
I'm
a
sorry.
podcast?
I'm sorry. With that, that brings us to the end of week number 6. So we have read all the way through chapter 24. Next week, we're going to be starting off with chapter 25, Abraham and Keturah.
Keturah.
Sounds like something from
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat. Yeah, I got to look that one up. real quick.
him.
Keturah.
Keturah and Katana.
All right, here we go.
Futura.
Keturah.
Keturah and
That doesn't
Katana.
sound as exciting as Keturah.
Oh no, it's kind of like Katana's sister from Mortal Kombat. Katana? Katurna? You're gonna
All
have to lay
right.
off the Taco Bell.
Anyways, with that, thanks for joining us for another week of the Bible reading. Join us again next week as we pick up with chapter 25, like we just said. And check us out tomorrow night. We're doing another reading of Laugh to Live. I had a brain fart there for a split second mid-sentence. But yeah, we're going to be doing Laugh to Live, my dad's book. And we're doing that one slightly different. We started that one out the same exact way that we've been doing this one, which is slowly and chapter by chapter. But I think we're going to read the Monday night books a little bit at a little bit of a faster pace.
Sounds like a better idea.
We'll read a little bit more than we typically tend to do. We might even actually finish this book tomorrow.
Actually,
'cause
basically
we're-
halfway through the book.
Yeah, we're going on to chapter 8, so we'll probably just go ahead and finish the book tomorrow night on tomorrow night's stream, in just one go. And then we'll start a new book the following week, which is actually his other book, which is about his time in Vietnam.
I think we're on chapter 6.
No, we're on chapter 8 because I did 1 week by myself.
What?
Yep. Anyways, with that, that brings us to the end of this week. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you either tomorrow night or next week.